To the Blessed Teach Show. This is Rick, your host, here on Saturday, December 29th. Going a lot later than I'd like to, but had family here, delayed flights. Finally, they were able to get out. So we are going live here. What is the time is it? It's pretty late. It's at 8 p.m. on Saturday night Central Time here. We're talking about, is the Keystone been decoded by now? We got somebody claiming they know what the Keystone is. So that's been something that Anon's been asking and debating about for quite a long time. I see people coming on now. George Soros dies already. I see number one, Belly from Texas. And we got Karen from Massachusetts. Thank you guys for coming on. And Lorraine from Plano. And Mary from SES. And it looks like we got, I don't know, all three platforms coming up now. So this goes to 2 YouTube channels, by the way, now, as well as a Facebook Live, to Twitch, as well as several others. So we got people. Yeah, you shaved. Yeah, Belly, you haven't seen me for a while because I shaved a while ago. But let's get going because there's a lot of stuff to be talking about here on December 29th. We're going to have the Keystone being decoded. We have LadyQanuck and other great Anons we're going to be reviewing for. So we're on a live actually on both the Blessed Teach live main channel on YouTube as well as Blessed Teach 2. So there's like 68 people that came on the Blessed Teach 2 show I'm seeing right now. So that's interesting. And I see somebody from Eric Thompson from Periscope on. Thank you for being on. So let's get rolling. If you look at this, and you go back, there hasn't been a post since the 23rd. I think we're in the 10 days of darkness is where I think we are right now. And if you look at this latest 22nd deal here, right, the hypocrites, the Democrats being hypocrites here on post 2642 that came on the 22nd. If you count, obviously, the 10 days of darkness, the first would be the 10th day when I would hope that we get a QAnon post. Maybe the second. I'm not sure exactly how he would be counting that. But the where I'm getting that from is if you just look at darkness, right? If you come up here and you just go to qmap.pub, the one I'm using now, and you go to this search term and you just go darkness, and you will now see it's coming down to 47 drops. And then you go Control F again, and you can put darkness again. And this is in your search engine this time, right? So see up here where it says this, it's got 21 matches. And you go backwards, it's the first time you talked about darkness, right? And that's not it. So I'm looking for a specific term. Thousands years of darkness is talking about something there. Where there was once darkness, there will now be light. That's a theme that we're talking about here quite a bit. Marching into the darkness lyrics. He talked about Spartans in darkness. Where there was darkness, there is now light. So there's a lot of that theme going on, right? And darkness, we see that all over the place where the dark to light thing. But this is what I want to get to. It's post 282. And you can see Anon says, I have a question. The 10 days darkness, when? When is that going to be? Right? And it says shutdown. Q. And so could that shutdown be the shutdown of the government? We haven't had anything. The only shutdown we had was like a day, a night, or something, right? That was the last time that they called it the Schumer shutdown, and they caved in. And now Trump set them up on what looked like an almost purposeful thing. Thank you, Eric Thompson, by the way. And you see this. I have a question. The 10 days of darkness, when? Shutdown. So could this be the 10 days of darkness that is really the key, after we've set the stage, etc. But what's going on during this 10 days of darkness is a lot of people's guess with all the Gitmo activity, etc. So it's going to be, I know, quite fun. We're going to talk about the Keystone here in a second. Somebody who feels they've decoded that in a different way. I'm not putting it at 100%, and I'll give you my honest opinion of what it is. But there's a lot of people excited about it, so I'm going to cover it today. But first, let me go to the sponsor of this episode. I think this is exciting to me that hemp oil, because of the Farm Bill, is now legal in all 50 states. In fact, no states can't have illegality against it. Dorothea Smith from Facebook I see as well, and Diane from Facebook as well. It's cool to have people coming on from different platforms. But I tell you what, it is pretty amazing when you see the healing effects of what this can have. And we got to be careful we can't have any claims, but if you just go look at all the comments since I've been advertising it this week, just from the subscribers themselves of the effects they've had with hemp oil, right? because these plants actually absorb 100% of the nutrients, and this doesn't have the ingredients that make you high at all. This is just the healthy part of it, right? So, and you can have this in different flavors: natural, blueberry, strawberry. My favorite, by the way, is blueberry. That's what I'm going to be buying some more of. You can see I was actually in the middle of ordering something here when I go, I'm going to call them. So you can call them. You can also chat with them. And I missed the chat because I got too busy. But I was about ready to go buy a bunch more of the blueberry because I ran out of my first order. But we're also giving this to my cat. I was telling you that. My sister-in-law, who's here in town now, is talking about how 5 years extra life to a cat that was supposed to pass away. Ours has kidney problems. So we'll see if that helps. I'm sure hoping it does. I'm praying for that and also praying for him as well. But you can get a significant discount on these. You make sure you use, when you go to ricksnaturaloil.com, use Blessed20, and you get a 20% discount plus what other discounts they're giving you on top of the other things, right? So Blessed20 in the coupon code way down here. See that says coupon? Put Blessed20 right here. Blessed20 when you're ordering. And obviously you can chat and talk to somebody live, so it's a great service. ricksnaturaloil.com. Try this as a natural type agent, unless you believe in big pharma. If you're not for big pharma, then go for this. Hey, here's the Keystone discussion. So this is that same Anon that does a great job with his Twitter account called 40 Head. So and I went over all yesterday. Go to yesterday's actual show if you want to get into how he linked the Clinton Foundation and a ton of that blue outage at CenturyLink all together in an ugly China, Feinstein, etc., all coming together, right? It was a beautiful thread. This thread, a lot of people are very excited about. I'm probably less excited about it, and I'll tell you why, because I'm in the industry, and maybe that's part of the issue. Is I've been a partner at Accenture in the past, actually working with companies like CenturyLink and Verizon and AT&T. I know the industry really well, so that's maybe why it hasn't hit me as much as other. But let's read this, because it's 30 threads, tweets long, right? This thread is, but it's worth it because so many Anons are excited about it. Okay, so let's dig into it. This says, "Are you kidding me? Yesterday's 911 outage exposes a major deep state player. The Keystone, question mark, exclamation point, hashtag QAnon, hashtag find the truth," right? Done a ton of other stuff here. And if you look at this, it says number 2 says, "POTUS opened the door of all doors. Expand your thinking. What is the Keystone? Q. Drop 197. Military intelligence. No such agency equals key. POTUS and Patriots equals stone. Q." So this is interesting because it's talking about the military intelligence and no such agency and all the work they're doing to monitor the criminals, right, is the key. And us as POTUS and the Patriots actually doing all the investigation, the Anons, and showing it all and waking up people is the stone. So I always thought that was with the Keystone, but I guess there's multiple meanings, just like there is the D5. There's multiple meanings, right? So what could this be? And so that's something that's interesting if we want to really dig into what's going on here. And so there's another one, drop 271. It says, "Admiral Rogers, no such agency. W&W, the Wizards and Warlocks, right? POTUS plus POTUS U.S. military equals apply the Keystone. Paint the picture Q, drop 270. So basically, when you take all this and you add the military and POTUS, you apply the Keystone. So what is that Keystone? People have been talking about this for quite some time. And this at the end is going to show us. Number 3, shout out to American NLLI. So he's got a link here where he says for his help. If you're not following him, you should be. So go ahead and follow this guy. Supposedly, it's supposed to be a pretty awesome dude if you want to have another Anon that of the many that I'm following on Twitter. Twitter's become kind of my go-to place, by the way, of research. I know I do a lot on what do you call it? Obviously vote.co, VOAT.co, but Twitter I'm finding a lot more cool stuff, especially in these downtimes. I find some really great stuff there as well. So I'm trying to just adjust one of the windows, and it's being really frustrating for me. There it goes. All right. Just give me 1 second as we get this here. There it goes. All right. So here we go. Now we're talking about, so number 4 says, number 3 says, shout out to him, and then it goes, if you're not following him, you should be. Me More and Research Master. So yesterday, 9/11 system outage, downplayed all over the place. Fact is, folks, even those that are saying how significant an attack this was, are not, number 4, telling you the whole story. I just posted that this attack hits tons of services throughout the entire United States. Emergency dispatch services, hospitals, prisons, schools, etc. Multiple victims in what CenturyLink called a network element. 9/11 outage hit way more than just emergency services, patient medical records, lottery, commissions, school commissions, prison systems, and more. And you can click on here and get in more detail there. But we don't have time on this show. But number 6, hospitals were not shut down. They just had to use pen and paper for a little while. Prisons were not unlocked and gates opened. They just had to use radios instead of phones. Schools had to have runners go to classrooms instead of using designated call systems. It was safe. Number 7, that's a major tell, folks. Do you imagine Russia, China, North Korea, or any of the rest of the enemies of America the fake news media tries to scare us about would have been that reserved in a hit on the U.S. system? But it won't retract from eventually blaming them, I bet. Number 8, I posted this thread on ties between HRC, the Bill Clinton, the Clinton Foundation, and the Chinese. The DJT wars against, I guess this is Huawei, and GTE spell out major exposure of deep state money, illegal campaign financing, and Chinese billionaire James Reddy and the Lippo Group. So this is a really great post. This is a full thread right here of about 40 tweets, right, that I went over yesterday. But by the way, about a couple hours ago, I was on the Patriot Supply for the first time. It was a fun time where I went over my 15 reasons that we don't trust the MSM, right? So that was a fun time. So this is my second live stream of the day. But if you look at this was really interesting. This James R-I-A-D-Y. I'm just pronouncing that Rady. James Rady and his Lippo Group. So remember that because that's going to come up later. Number 9 says, but man, this is huge. CenturyLink, the group that got hit yesterday, causing all of these outages, are major deep state folks. They have contracts for 9/11, hospital communications, prison systems, and Department of Defense, DoD contractors for dark fiber communications. 10, they're also tied to lottery systems, schools, banking communications, and more. Do any of you think that one company having all that oversight and control is a responsible thing to do? They have a monopoly on the biggest communication systems in this country. Now, for somebody that's not in the industry, that might sound just wild, but this is where I kind of fall off here because Patriot soapbox, that's right. And so is that, Verizon and AT&T are much larger than CenturyLink, and all of them do, in a sense, have monopolies on certain areas, where especially when they have landline communications. And it's true that CenturyLink does that, but they're only in 37 states. They're not in 50 like others. And they have a lot of important contracts. But again, I just don't think you can call any company that is international and across all states a deep state all of a sudden. Now, there are some things, though, that are fishy here. So I'm going to give him that as we go forward here. So here's 11. But how exactly did they get all that control? Well, hold on to your sneakers. They have been steadily increasing their footprint and their control over nearly every single internet, phone, and communication provider in the U.S. That's a stretch. Again, they're massive. And here's a wiki link. We'll go look at that. Look at the wiki. It is true that they're large, and they have been acquiring a lot of companies, and they're now, now they're in 37 states. But they're not in all states, and they're not, in my opinion, what I would call dominant and massive, right? Because I'm in the industry, right? I used to be a partner at Accenture in the communications area, and I'd go serve clients like this. And there it is. So here's the wiki. So it goes over the whole history of CenturyLink, et cetera. And it's true that they've done a ton of acquisitions lately. They were CenturyTel, and then they acquired Embark. I was actually helping Embark launch something at Accenture where we helped them. This is Sprint's landline company, basically. And so they bought them, and then they changed their name from CenturyTel to CenturyLink, and they acquired Quest. They acquired Savvis, they had AppFrog, they expected Tier 3, and these are big companies, don't get me wrong. Data Gardens, and all these other ones, even a consulting company that was SAP consulting company. And then they Level 3, which is a large acquisition as well. And that makes them now where they have a huge presence, like 91% of all of Colorado. That is large, right? But again, there's only like 12 states that are over 50% of the communications, and there's a lot of them they're not even in. So to say that they're massive and international, stretch. They're automatically deep state because of their presence? Not really. That's the way landlines work in here. So I just want to make sure you knew that from Rick's perspective, I think he's going way overboard on automatically making deep state ties based on just how big they are. But he does do some more here in a second. So let's look at it. But who really controls them? Everybody knows all decisions come from the top, right? Well, let's look at who owns CenturyLink. You're not going to believe this. Number one shareholder with 123 million shares worth $2.61 billion is Temasek Holdings. This Temasek Holdings. Sound familiar? And it says 13. It didn't strike me right away either, as I realized Temasek is basically a shell corporation. It has ownership investments in Alibaba Group Holdings. Now, Alibaba is one of the largest. It's like the Amazon of China is what it is, right? And Amazon's deep state. We know that. Alibaba's most likely deep state. Okay, I agree with that. Any idea who that is? You should. Alibaba Group Holdings was started with money from Lippo's Rady family and friends. So then I started going, wow, okay, now that's wild. So all that China and the Clinton Foundation, connections with with this Lippo and this Rady guy. Going, okay, wow, now I see it. Now I see, okay, I see where he's going. There's at least ownership in CenturyLink that is deep state. But you could almost say that for some of Verizon and AT&T, right? When really people look at the details of who owns those companies. But 14 says Temasek also has ownership holdings in CenturyLink, Gilead Sciences, a huge pharmaceutical corporation, which is rumored to be tied to the tainted HIV medicine in the Clinton Foundation that Bill Clinton purchased with the help of Rady. Remember that? We talked about that yesterday. It was sold to Africa, and it actually killed people because it was watered-down medicine. That is a sad, sad thing that I hope comes to light here. CenturyLink co-controlled by Vanguard. Now, Vanguard's a big investment company who have significant, if not controlling, shares of Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Johnson & Johnson, and JP Morgan Chase Bank. Are you getting the picture here, folks? All deep state companies. CenturyLink is owned by our enemies. Again, stretch to me. Yes, no question that those companies are deep state, but they also own a lot of other companies that you'd probably say weren't deep state. If you went and looked at Vanguard's, all their holdings. I can't say everybody in Vanguard is cabal. I just don't believe that. And so I think this is, again, a stretch. Sorry, guys. I'm probably taking a lot of the enthusiasm you guys usually get from me out of this, but I don't want to be pointing to things that aren't real, right? So I think this is a big stretch. 16, do you grasp what this means? The major and most vital communication system in America, the Keystone, is controlled by deep state corporations. If you care to look at the stocks, holdings, values, and what not of these companies, check it out here. So you can actually go look at, and again, this is not shocking to me, and there's a ton of them here. The Vanguard, they talked about this company being the holding company in Vanguard, and there is some, banks here for sure. Goldman Sachs, that's deep state, obviously, we know that. JP Morgan Chase, deep state as you can get, and so Morgan Stanley, etc. So you'll see that, yes, true, that there are some, not all, I wouldn't say you could say all of them, that are likely, deep state ties. How big is CenturyLink? For 50 years, they've bought into and taken over parts of or all of tons of communication suppliers in America. So that's a big overstatement. They have not taken all of or part of a monopoly. And again, they're only a monopoly in the 30 or 40% they have in the states they have, right? Started 50 years ago. That's when G.H.W. Bush was liaison to China, then became CI director. So he's putting the time frame of just 50 years ago and the start of that time, and then he links it to George Bush all of a sudden. Sorry, guys, this whole post, this whole thread, you can tell, is to me where we conspiracy theorists bad name comes from, right? That's a big stretch. 18, where does CenturyLink get its government contracts and just how much do they control? This is where the monopolization gets scary. They're not just controlling American communication anymore. It's going worldwide. Look at, they're everywhere. Now again, huge overstatement because they're primarily just in the U.S. Best Nani ever. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. But look at this. If you go dig into this, you look at it's almost all U.S. based. This is CONUS. That is the continental U.S. Continental U.S. Continental U.S. Continental U.S. Continental U.S. Continental U.S. So where's he getting? This is all over the world. Continental U.S. Continental U.S. Continental U.S. Keep going down. Continental U.S. Okay. I kept searching because I knew that these guys were primarily a U.S. based teleco. And then boom, here we go. Puerto Rico is the only other place. So guys, come on. We have got to be careful about. And so I'm just saying, I don't know 40 Head, but 40 Head, if you're listening, dude, settle down. We cannot have this type of hype for things that are not true. What do you mean they're everywhere and going worldwide? They go to Puerto Rico? Give me a break. So anyway, just overhyped thread here. I loved the one yesterday, but it makes me wonder if it's overhyped now as I go through this. Sid 19, truth be told, even with all the control, all their contracts, and all their assets, are they really performing well enough to continue this monopolization? Some experts say they're not doing as well as regular investors like us would hope. So this is an article just about how they've struggled. They're struggling for profitability, stuff like that, right? But that's, to me, it's less a sign of cabal, because cabal money coming into all these deep state operations is where I see, for instance, it is by everybody, like you see Apple and Google and Facebook doing, right? Facebook owns my favorite WhatsApp, right? They bought them. They bought Instagram. They buy everybody. So everybody buys all these great. That's so the sign of weakness of a company is not a sign of a cabal. It's a sign of the opposite. So why in the world would they continue to be awarded contracts, move into bigger markets, and overtake more successful corporations like Verizon? They have not overtaken Verizon. Verizon was shedding some of their properties as they wanted to get out of the rural markets, and CenturyLink went and bought Verizon properties that they wanted to get rid of. Frontier bought a bunch here in Dallas. That's why I used to have Verizon files and I have Frontier files. So if you understand this industry, this is way overblown, this thread. Well, that's where this alternative agenda comes in and suggests the deep state is doing this for a reason. Look at this. Alibaba is kicking off its annual Alifest. Now remember, Alibaba is the Amazon of China, and they happen to have a same investor of CenturyTel and Alibaba. So that is a link of potential deep state. I do give them that. And they're having this in this Hangzhou, China next week with star-studded lineup of speakers and to help celebrate its 10th anniversary. Keynote presenters at the SME Summit include President Bill Clinton, founder of the William J. Clinton Foundation. Now, that's Alibaba though. It's not CenturyLink. Okay, we know they're similar to Amazon. So that Bill Clinton speaking to Amazon wouldn't surprise me. Bill Clinton speaking to Alibaba doesn't surprise me. Now, they have the same investor as CenturyLink. Does that kind of? But and there was links last time to Clinton Foundation, so I give them that. So 22 says, "What the hell did you get that? I could leave it right here, and you would know I'm telling you the truth." Again, not really. The big dog himself, old Slick Willie, is partnered with the group that controls the major and critical communication system of the U.S. And you can go link and find some more details about that. He talks about who found this essential link. I told you you need to be following him. There's a lot of other big names in that lineup, including the CEO of Starbucks, Howard Schultz. Obviously he's off the wall leftist. I encourage more research into that if anyone has the time. 24. The massive corporations have fingers in nearly every country working behind the scenes to control, to manipulate, and to monitor communications. and I do agree with that in general, mainly through the CIA, though, not through companies, not through communication companies. What has POTUS and Q done? They've taken us back to back channels. They're rescuing the Keystone. And then here's another thing about the Senate awards of CenturyLink, $11.4 million contract to the Senate. Again, is that, yeah, that's kind of a little bit fishy, but $11.4 million contract in this industry is very small, right? 25, there's been a relentless effort to extend this monitoring and control by CenturyLink, aka the deep state, by our government officials. Congress issues the contracts and these players. Everything is monitored, recorded, controlled purposefully. And it talks about CenturyLink subsidiary to extend DoD dark fiber. Well, you better do that. If you're the third largest communication company in the United States and you're not doing fiber, you're in trouble, right? So again, this is not fishy to me at all, except for the Clinton and Alibaba connection. It is kind of interesting and does show that, yeah, these guys could be controlled just like AT&T and Verizon, right? But I don't see any more control here so far from what I've seen. 26. So where is the Keystone, folks? Now here's some interesting logic that might give us some new insight. It is our central ability to communicate, unrestricted. What does that sound like? Folks, the Keystone is the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. Is the key that all other rights hinge on. It's our most precious right. 27. No son of bees who control, manipulate, silence, or otherwise prohibit our speech literally overtook our ability to communicate. The deep state infected the media, which is no longer free speech. It is direct, controlled, and targeted to misinform and disrupt. Amen. So I'm completely on board with him on the deep state and the CIA monitoring us, spying on us, but they're doing it primarily through Apples and Facebooks, etc., right? And Googles. And CenturyLink has very little to do with that, in my opinion. The deep state and so 28. The QAnon movement solidifies the backdoor channels to free speech, like I'm doing right now. I'm doing my darndest to research, learn, compile, and inform the rest of you. I will be shadow banned again. It will get hundreds of spam emails again. It shouldn't be that way. 29. Our First Amendment right is the Keystone. The founders knew it must be protected. Let your voice be known. Stand for what's free and what's right. God bless. The end. So I know I probably took a lot of damper out of that compared to if you see other anons talking about this. Oh my goodness, this is the Keystone. And to me there was no real. It was a huge leap to CenturyLink and it being some huge, massively powerful company worldwide that controls all our communications. I just think that's wrong. So sorry, but you want my honest opinion? There you got it, right? And so there's also an article here about CenturyLink from Boise, Idaho, and it talks a little more detail about this outage and how it really didn't affect things too horribly, right? They got it up and running in a day and a half, but there are investigations by the FCC going on it because we can't have our 911 system going down for a day and a half. That's all there is to it. But it was far less than 50% of the country, okay? And so let's not overstate things that are happening out there. And I went through all that type of stuff with you. So let's move into some other news. This is Anon saying Facebook is not an irresponsible tech company that should be regulated. It's a CIA brass plate fraud designed to spy on everyone and very likely a money laundering operation. Could not agree more with that. Like the spy chips the CIA placed inside the Apple phones without congressional oversight or authority, and the chips inside of a ZTE products, phones, modems, etc. Right? So we're being completely spied on, and that's why, thank goodness, we have the white hats taking down the criminals, so at least we can get some privacy back. Here we go on a tweet from Trump today. He says the Mueller angry Democrats recently deleted approximately 19,000 text messages between FBI agent Lisa Page and her lover agent Peter Strzok. These texts were asked for and invaluable to the truth of the witch hunt hoax. This is total obstruction of justice. All texts demanded. So this is a twist here. This is a boomerang, right? This is pretty serious in my opinion. If you really look at Mueller, the second counsel, deleting those texts, it's like, are you kidding me? Wow, that's crazy stuff. So here you go. It looks like Lou's having to go. You take care, Lou. Thanks for all your help. He's been awesome, by the way. All the monitors have been awesome. Wow, what's all that? I was playing with Zoom there. Also, I always like to refresh when I get to Trump's Twitter to see what he said lately here, because here's something 5 hours ago, and this is kind of cool. It says 2018 is being called the year of the worker by Steve Moore, co-author of Trumponomics, or Trumponomics, however you pronounce that. It was indeed a great year for the American worker, with the best job market in 50 years and the lowest unemployment rate ever for blacks and Hispanics and all workers. Big wage gains. So it's like, yeah, here we go. Now this is interesting. There's this Defense News Twitter here. Mattis is out. Blackwater is back. We are coming. So this was literally in a magazine here. I'm sorry, in a newspaper. Mattis is out. It said Blackwater USA took out a full-page ad in the January-February 2019 issue of Recoil magazine. It was a magazine, with the company's logo and a message, "We are coming," which is interesting. So that just shows, are they going to be privatizing some of our battles versus putting our troops at risk, and maybe getting some better stuff there. We'll see. Check this out. Facebook says that a picture of an Officer Singh who was killed by an illegal the day after Christmas violates their community standards on hate speech. WTF? So this is sad. This is a picture taken 5 hours with his family right before he got shot by an illegal alien who was part of a gang, who should have been deported many times, had several DUIs, and there's no reason why this person that killed this cop should have been on the loose. Another reason why we need the wall and the proper laws to be enforced. Sanctuary cities should not be happening. Here's Joseph Flynn saying, read this and understand why Obama went after General Flynn, who was head of DIA when this S went down. Obama admin knew about Benghazi before it happened. So here's a whole detailed look at just that they literally knew, because it was planned. They needed to take Stevens out for several reasons. I'm not going to speculate on all that right now, but I'm sure you guys have heard some of what happened there as they were funding and giving guns into ISIS. They potentially were even giving them nuclear weapons, according to FBI, Anon, other things that we haven't verified completely, but interesting. And one thing we do know is they wanted Stevens dead, and they made sure of it by a stand-down order. Now here's the Speaker 2018. The bodies of up to 800 infants are to be exhumed as part of an investigation into the religious abuse of the Republic of Ireland. Mass graves of hundreds of babies to be excavated in Ireland. Wow, there's big stuff being. We talked about the Lord just highlighting the corruption, just unearthing everything, right? And wow, I didn't realize they'd actually be digging up dead babies to basically see if they're abused or not. Not sure how they would know, but pretty crazy when you think about it. Here is LadyQanuck, right? She's done, I think I told you, go follow her. She does a great work. Here's a small little thread. It says, holy crap, drop 1948, blue skies for clown ops. This comes back to the blue thing I showed you yesterday in detail, right? And it says, Blue Sky was a CIA memo sponsored by Clinton administration during the last few weeks in office. This gave them full immunity to break the law, any law, post FF attack on the USS Cole. What is Brookhaven Lab? Read on. So they're taking this look at this Q drop here that talks about purpose. Blue skies for clown op, right, that we talked about yesterday. And they talk a little bit more of this blue sky memo that came out now. And it looks like that jumped on me. There it is. and it talks about was document authorized by the Central Intelligence Agency. The premise of the memo was to describe actions the CIA should undertake if it did not have to operate under legal, financial, and political restrictions. That is to say, if the sky were blue. So basically, the sky's blue all the time, right? So they can do anything they want, which is sad. It says after the USS Cole bombing and written in the final weeks of the Clinton administration, it was delivered to Richard A. Clarke on December 9th, 2000. And so you can look at this Brookhaven lab here she's highlighting. So this goes into about 3 more threads here. So let's see where she's going with this. She says, number 2, Brookhaven Labs is a clown-controlled research arms facility that was co-created by Truman at the exact same time as the CIA in 1947. They are located only a few miles away from the Astoria power plant that lit up blue 2 days ago. Coincidence? So you can see the labs here, kind of goes into the details and how they're not too far away. The location of the transformer that blow and Brookhaven Labs. And there's some stuff here that's hard to read, but she's highlighting it. She says, the mail has also been verified by Google. It talks about President Bill Clinton and a Haifa member, home of Ambassador Carl, and it goes into some other things. This is all the way back in 2015. One of these works at Brookhaven Labs. I said I wish we could double the budget of all the national labs. I spent $3 billion of your money to sequence the first human genome. It's down to about $1,000 now. It'll be 500 within a year or two, and we've had more than 900 billion of economic benefit coming into our economy because of it. You want somebody that thinks about that? That's the way she thinks. So this has to do with the Brookhaven Labs, obviously, it's connected into all this. And interesting that the Energy Department official account has been retweeting many of Brookhaven Labs' posts. Is that Q? So look at this, it kind of looks like a potential Q, right? Did you know RHIC is actually 2 accelerators in 1 in this Brookhaven Lab? And you can see the Energy Department was retweeting this. 4. How has the electrical system been performing? Here's an electrical flow from December 21st to 28th. And it's showing the electrical flows here. I didn't see anything besides obviously we had the outage there. What are the odds that Brookhaven Lab is also making upgrades to solar-based stations? And certainly they are. She found that. And so 6, she says, close up to show how close Brookhaven Labs is to the location of the blue light shown in Astoria power plant. They try to take down the grid and use the resources at Brookhaven to do it. So that's her theory here. Could they, as in the deep state, tried to take down the grid and use the resources at Brookhaven to do it? Did the White Hats intercept with a black eye technology as defense? So that's interesting. So again, we don't know. We know the MSM played down that, and we know that it knocked down some very important services like 911 services. But interesting. It's hello from South Dakota, I see. Yeah, that's Mount Rushmore back behind me. That is. So hey, I wanted to do one other thing. I've been telling you about the whole. We talked about the Fed, and I had Bob on, and we got cut off a lot. So I wanted to kind of just give him a shout out one more to his trade genius. So if you're really looking in how to trade with cryptos, how to trade with stock, and take advantage of this move over, and I think you heard him go away from technology stocks and into to the middle of the country type stocks like mining stocks and things that are commodities. And if you want great advice from somebody, take some training from Trade Genius, right? This is a company, and there'll be a link below in the YouTube videos if you want to really get it. But you can just also type in tradegenius.co, tradegenius.co, and he's got some specials here the next couple days that really allow you to get a big discount. They're still the Christmas specials or New Year specials, I guess you could call them. I'm taking this cryptocurrency lessons. I'm on lesson 7. I was supposed to get my hour of coaching, but I messed up and wasn't able to hook up with Bob. But these coaching sessions are awesome as well. and you can get huge discounts on regular pricing to get trained, and then you're and you can actually be part of these communities of people that actually trade the upswings with really low risk because they sell once they've made a certain amount of money. So it's a really interesting approach. I'm going to try this and try to get myself with buying gold, as well as doing some investing in some of these cryptos and stocks that are more oriented toward where Trump's going, right? Working hard people, etc. So try tradegenius.co and really learn how to trade yourself, and that's if you have extra time, that could be a fun hobby as well as really secure your financial future. Here's Speaker 2018. The bodies of I already read that. The celeb New Year's Eve and tour cancellations. This is interesting, but here is Ariana Grande cancels her New Year's Eve tour. So is this Cardi B and Offset. So there's just kind of some peculiar thing going on there. You can tell what people might be thinking. And this is a video I'm going to link to you guys. It's called Ring Me Up. This is just a customer that's in a Trump hat. It's a black Trump hat and a black Trump shirt. And a snowflake that is working there freaks out. And there's 4 minutes and there's a lot of F words, so I can't play it. But it's worth your time if you really want to see how crazy some people can be just for your supporting one candidate. And he literally would not ring him up and swore at him and tried to push him out of the shop and has a 4-minute tirade. And finally he decides he's going to get in trouble and tries to sell it to him. And right when he's trying to sell it to him, the Trump supporter goes, "Capitalism wins again." And then he freaks out again and ends up not selling him it and just starts swearing and trying to kick him out of the shop. So anyway, good. Go look at this Ring Me Up. It's on YouTube. You can just search on Ring Me Up. It was published today. Hilarious, but a lot of F words. So if you don't I know if you don't enjoy that type of stuff, you might not want to watch it. But just shocking to see how the Trump derangement syndrome has set into so many people. Here we have start with 100 senators. Take away 12 for felonies. You leave 88. 53 over 88 is 60%. Boom, super majority. So that would be a dream, wouldn't it, to be actually have a super majority and be able to get some of these common sense things passed through, right? Here's a Gateway Pundit article saying new Florida Secretary of State, bad news for Brenda Snipes, right? So here, finally, Brenda Snipes got replaced by somebody new that is actually hopefully going to make elections fair in Florida. We'll see. Trump's China trade strategy is winning. This is real interesting because if you look at just what's happened here, there's a summary here from Anon says, Trump's China trade strategy is winning. Chairman Xi's refusal to compromise with President Trump has cost his country $2.4 trillion so far in 2018. So that is a pretty awesome quote there in that we see from the American Thinker. Again, winning with just be a smart businessman, doing what politicians wouldn't do, doing what's best for the country and for money versus what's best for themselves. A blockbuster, Italy stacked its entire vaccine advisory board, then tested the vaccines and found they contained zero immunity benefits, only deadly side effects. It's eugenics. So you probably saw this. This is literally an article out of Italy showing that they fired their entire health expert board, right? The anti-vaccine Italian government sacks entire health expert board. So these vaccines are not doing what they're purported to do. It's amazing what they're starting to find out. Here's a Breitbart article saying Google blocks Gateway Pundit from their new search results. So I'm telling you, do not use Google for any searching. Google is completely compromised now. It's all New World Order oriented search results. So if you want to get propagandized within the search results, use Google. If you want the truth, use DuckDuckGo. Right? That's and so again, you just go to any browser. You can type in DuckDuckGo.com and there use your search engine. But you can also make this DuckDuckGo your default search engine. This is what you should do. Sometimes you have to download it, but most of the time it's there. If you just go to your settings in any of your browsers and look for search engine, DuckDuckGo is almost always there. If not, you can download it and put it there. That's what I do. And then when you type it in the top bar, it's automatically to use DuckDuckGo, where you'll get unaltered search results. With Google, it's completely, again, they're only giving you, like if you search QAnon in Google, you're only going to get the bad articles. If you search that in DuckDuckGo, you're going to get truly what the search engine should do. Give you the based upon usage and usefulness, etc. Right? So DuckDuckGo is where you want to go. Let's see, make sure I didn't miss anything here as I flipped over there. I think that was the Google. Yep, there it is. Here's a President Trump personally secures Coast Guard payroll funding amid government shutdown. So he's making sure his military is getting paid and the Coast Guard, etc. So that's exactly what we need. Here's Candace Owens, of the real Candace. Right, you will see just her, another great person to follow on Twitter. You see appropriation at Senator Warren pretending to be Native American. At Ocasio 2018 pretending she was raised in poverty. At Beto O'Rourke misrepresenting himself as Hispanic. She says Democrats are the party of rich people who perpetually pretend to have things in common with the disadvantaged. And this is Candace Owens just doing a great job waking people up into the the walk away movement as we clean up the Republicans from being a corrupt group to a Trump party. I think we should call it a whole separate party, like the Patriot Party or the Trump Party, right? And because the Republicans have been as corrupt as the Democrats, and now we're seeing that the leftover, since he's cleaned up most of the Republican House with resignations and not rerunning for election, etc. Most of the criminals are now left in the Democratic side. So it's going to be an amazing thing when we start coming to unity, which again Mark Taylor and others are prophesying. Pennsylvania sued over non-citizen voters. So that's interesting and an awesome move as well, I think, to just let's do that, right? And here we have the more we have get rid of non-citizen voters, the more we're going to get true votes versus the false votes. When we get rid of the George Soros voting machines, we'll get actual real results. How I finally red-pilled my wife, or how the MSM is committing slow, gradual suicide. So this is his wife, and I'm not going to read this whole thing to you, but she hates Trump, and he basically just answered questions intelligently, and she's realizing she's being lied to by the media. That's what's going to start happening here, I hope, right? So, hey, you can now follow me back. My website's back up and running. It's almost fully operational again. You can come here and be added to the email list, and I'll have you links to my show notes. They're all being backed up now like mad. So I put a lot of money into making sure I have backups of all this stuff, and that we have responsiveness, as well as I've taken it all the way out to 2020. I appreciate your guys' support of this channel. You can find me on podcasts as well, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio, as well as iTunes, if you want a lower bandwidth way to listen to me, like in the car, where you don't want to use all the YouTube bandwidth, right? But again, do come and subscribe to the email list, because you're going to get a link directly to the show notes, and everything I've shown you just in a second, you have a link right to. And a lot of times it renders right on the screen real nicely. I'll show you. Here's the notes from last night as an example. Blue Skies for Clowns. You can see the show notes here. Has a links to the supporters. The sponsors. You can see right here, it's got direct links to the blue lights on Twitter that I showed you, the best view here. It's got, and it links you don't even have to break through them. I mean, you don't even have to link to them a lot of times. You can get what you need, make copies of them, etc., to forward to your friends, or memes onto your Twitter or Facebook or whatever. But to actually have the exact link to each one of these, you need to be on my email list, right? So go there and do that. Also, preparing for emergencies, guys. The time to prepare is not after the emergency starts and the stores are empty of shelves, right? If some martial law or something happens, and that's why they created a preparewithrick.com. This is my sponsor, Patriot Supply. Preparewithrick.com, where you can go get food storage, right? And you should have at least 4 weeks of food for each person in the family. And some people say 6 months. I think that's overdoing it. I'm not trying to sell you guys things you don't need. But this is awesome. This has 4-gallon storage, a really nice storage, or the resealable military pilar grades are up to 25-year shelf life, and you get a lot more calories and food here. Again, huge discounts, a whole $100 off for the 4-week supply. Go get yourself, prepare for this type of stuff. You can also go to waterwithrick.com to get the water filter if you want to do that. All right, hey, tell you what, I'm going to have Amanda Grace to come on the show here in a couple of weeks once my schedule settles down. I got a couple big trips in early January, and then I'm hoping to have Amanda come in and interview her. She's been just being filled. Here's another one today that I heard here. So I thought we'd just listen to a part of this. It's longer than I would want, but I just I want you to go to her site and actually subscribe to her. Right? She's only got 8K followers, which is just shocking to me. Subscribers. So make sure you hit this bell. Remember, whenever you subscribe, you have to hit that bell to get notifications when they come. If that bell's not highlighted, you will not get. It says occasional, right? So I'm going to show you that bell right there. It says you'll get occasional notifications. If you highlight it, your bell's highlighted, then you'll get all notifications. That is critical, and it's a trick they've done and they'll turn that bell off for you guys. You have to check that every once in a while for your favorite channels. So this is Amanda Grace. She got a word from the Lord. There's a part 1 and a part 2, but let's listen to a little bit to what she's saying here. Again, this was tonight. She posted this, and she first talks about it and prays, and here she goes.
Power of the blood of Jesus Christ, may only the truth come forth. Business opportunities from years past are going to be revisited in 2019. When the time was not right in the past, the time will now align with open doors by way of the Lord's favor. Unsettled, the spirits and lives of people that feel unsettled, that have gone to and fro, that have not found rest in a church or life or business, will find rest. There will be a period of rest where the spirit and lives are at peace. It will feel like they have found a good rhythm, found their niche. Now, rest does not mean no work, but this rest involves, in the midst of turmoil, you are not shaken, but you prosper. Beloved, I wish above all things that you mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth. For I rejoice greatly when the brethren came and testified of the truth that is in you, even as you walk in the truth. I have no greater joy than to hear that my children walk in truth. Beloved, thou dost faithfully whatsoever thou doest to the brethren and to strangers. 3 John 2-5. There has been a purge warned of for a while. And in 2019, it seems there will be at least 2 major leaders of churches who are purged.
So this is amazing, guys. This is a consistent theme I'm hearing from multiple prophets talking about how we will have all kinds of opportunities for us as people who love the Constitution, people who love this country, that want to come and help this country and want to join God in what He's doing, right? And there's going to be openings in government. We know that, right? Federal, state, local, as well as all these other areas of mountains, if I've called them. But also here in churches where there's going to be people exposed. Let's continue listening.
Purge is a 2-step process. First, the sourness, the stench, the uncleanness must be revealed, spit up and out in the open. Secondly, it is removed, cut off as a diseased branch is cut from a tree, so the disease does not spread. Capital letters, obedience equals acceleration. The disease of complacency, which includes enabling sin. Complacency plus apathy is connected to money and congregants. Complacency manifested enables congregants to continue in their sins. It watered their sins because it is connected to a deep-rooted fleshly desire to keep their income in that church. To keep the income within that church, where the desire to keep the income is greater than the shepherd's divine position to actually shepherd the flock and expose what is out of order, to not condone the sin, to cut it to the quick. Complacency has outweighed truth and discipline, and the scales are going to be rectified. This is the year of Mene Mene Tekel Upharsin, as the hand wrote on the wall in the book of Daniel. Those who have been weighed for their wicked deeds and found wanting are going to find their hard-earned riches, spoils found out and divided and purged. The writing is on the wall. The writing has been blatantly on the wall for quite some time, left there as a warning that the clock was ticking down.
All right, and I don't want to show you the whole prophecy because I want to tease you enough to go to Amanda, subscribe to her because I think she's amazing. And so far, what I've seen, she actually, her calling is taking care of sick animals and stuff, and she has a whole farm basically at her house, and does a wonderful job. And God kind of speaks to her through that, and I've been testing her so far the last 3 or 4 months, and she's been really consistent with Mark Taylor, consistent with what I'm thinking and feeling in the spirit, and so anyway, Amanda Grace will be a live guest here in a few weeks, and go ahead and give her a follow and listen, because that whole thing about the writing on the wall and exposing the evil is happening. We're starting to see it everywhere, right? So it's quite exciting to me to see all this happening. So hey, with that, let me pray, and then I'll bring you over and we'll talk a little bit. Heavenly Father, just thank you so much for revealing a lot of what you're doing to various prophets, also most importantly just to us as individuals. So those of us who have the Holy Spirit in us, Lord, and we see what's going on, Lord, I pray you continue to give us discernment. We don't want to be talking about anything or inflating things that are wrong. We want to really understand truth, Lord. Give me discernment and wisdom. Give everyone who's listening to my voice right now discernment and wisdom. Let us as a community discern truth from error. And Lord, please continue to expose the evil in this world and allow us to clean up our government. Thank you, Lord, for coming and touching and healing our land. We just pray for you to continue to heal this land. Please protect the white hats that are taking out the criminals. And Lord, we just love you and thank you so much for that. We just look forward to following you on this journey. We look so forward to seeing what you are going to do with this administration, with very parts of this world, with this yellow jack movement. Lord, we pray for protection for all the people that know they're being lied to, that now know the New World Order is being exposed. They're coming out on the streets. Lord, protect them. Allow their movement to have an effect. Thanks for your healing. Please rescue the children. Please eliminate this human trafficking, expose it all, Lord. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. All right. Hey, with that, I'm going to bring over this new chat window. You can probably see it right now. So this brings over everybody from both YouTube channels. So some of you are on YouTube, my main YouTube channel. Some of you are actually on the second YouTube channel, and some of you are on Facebook Live or Periscope. So obviously YouTube warns them all, but you'll see they're all right here. But hey, I see DJ, another phase on. Thank you, another phase, for being the monitor. I see Joan, a retired person, Anita, BT, Kane, Piano Lady, Michelle, Dan. Appreciate you guys all being in. I just want to know if the orbs are real or some man-made. Sometimes so if you guys have any questions or whatever, put at Blessed Teaching. It'll come up and be a little red thing, or you can do a small super chat. So just make sure I can get it if you need me to tackle that. YouTube here, says Joyce, and there's Kim Collins. Hi, who is from Facebook. It just jumped on me. But you saw here's a Facebook person right here. Hi from Sydney. So Kim Collins from Sydney, Australia. Thanks for joining me on Facebook Live. That's why I'm using this new platform. And now I'm wired. Did you notice I didn't get cut off? The last 2 days I got cut off into 3 pieces and 2 pieces. This is held steady because I'm wired directly with Cat 6 cable. I'm also going to be getting an upgrade as well. Vicky, keep up the good work. All the way from Facebook Live as well. So it's kind of cool to see people from multiple platforms coming on. God bless you, Rick. I was happy to hear you at the Patriot Soapbox. Yeah, and I apologize I didn't give anybody any notice. It's just been so crazy with all the family here visiting and the delayed flights and everything. I was planning on letting everybody know I was going to be on. So I'll go on there maybe every other week or so to do something I'm really passionate about. It was fun to be there. I think there's like 1,200 people on. So right now we have... It's split now because I fooled everybody since I'm broadcasting to both my normal YouTube channel and the second YouTube channel, 747 and 368. So we have around 1,100 on. That doesn't include Facebook Live. Karen says, saw you on Patriot Soapbox today. You were well received. Yeah, it was kind of sad that my PowerPoint didn't work early in there. So only about 2/3 of the presentation people could see. But you could tell I'm passionate about it, and most people got the point about why we don't trust the mainstream media. The 15 reasons why, right, is what we reviewed. Good stuff, guys. I really do appreciate you joining me here this late on a Saturday night. I'm gonna get my Saturday night started here. You guys as well, but we've had a lot of Saturday nights. It seems like Friday, Saturday nights here with the break. It's been great. I love it when Christmas is on a Tuesday or a Thursday, right? It works out well with here in the U.S. Between Hillary and Q, you can't believe nothing. This says so. If you don't believe Q either, huh? So interesting. You need to go to qproofs.com and actually look at qproofs.com, because it shows that, yeah, you can believe what's happening there. Of course, some of it's disinformation, so you got to be careful. Because I think that the CIA and the deep state and those criminals are following Q probably closer than you and me, right? They're sitting there, they're nervous. They see Gitmo and they see planes going to Gitmo too, right? Thanks, Rick, for the mention. I usually watch you on YouTube. Okay, Kim. Yeah, so thanks. Yeah, so it doesn't matter where you go as long as we can hopefully get a few new users as well. I love to catch you, Rick. Been here with you for a long time. Thank you, Julie Posey. Appreciate that. Thank you, guys. She is truly under attack. So I'm not sure who's under attack and who we need to be praying for. I'll be praying for Amy. So Amy needs some prayer, guys. I'm not sure exactly what the prayer request is, but let's get on that. But hey, we're just hit an hour here, and I want to get my Saturday night started. I want to say thank you guys for joining me again. What an awesome time it is. Even in this 10 days of darkness, or if that's what it is, it's quite exciting to know that we have inside information still coming from the Anons, right? So if we don't have it from Q, we have a lot of digging from the Anons, and it makes us dig more, these good Anons, and into things like we got today, right? That's what I love. So again, the Keystone Decoded, I'm not so sure. I don't think it has much to do with that thread, but it is an interesting thought. Could the First Amendment be the Keystone, right? That if they were going to get our guns on the Second Amendment, they're going to attack our free speech, put us in FEMA camps, right? That could have very well happened had Hillary gotten in. So it is such an exciting time. We have to always got to be blessing and pray for the Lord that she did not get in, and we have somebody that cares about this country in there right now. And this is Rick, your host with the Blessed Teach Show on Saturday, December 29th. God bless you guys. We'll talk to you next time.